Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Wade Watches. I'm Wade. Welcome to the first installment in my A24 in April series, where I'm going to be covering independent movies from the famous art house studio all April long, starting with Hereditary. From 2018, directed by Ari Aster and starring Tony Collette, Alex Wolff, Millie Shapiro, and Gabriel Byrne. So I definitely went into this one guessing by the title, thinking it was going to be like some sort of ghost story about like maybe some sort of ghosts or vengeful spirit or some other form of supernatural entity, demon or whatever, like fucking with this particular family. And kind of like maybe there's some like or also I thought maybe there was like some sort of curse that was hereditary, passed down because it's hereditary, something like that. And of course I'm not gonna give away any major details or tell you exactly what's going on with this movie and why everything happens. You guys know how I roll by now. But I can say that I was definitely pleasantly surprised. And also, let's just say I wasn't totally off the mark, but that's all I'll say. Don't worry, you're safe with me as always. But let's jump into what surprisingly worked with this movie. Thank God, and I'm always saying this with every horror movie I see. Thank God that Hereditary is not another horror movie that relies on an over reliance of jump scares, fake out scares, the Bruce sound effect where it's like bam, and or you know what, even an overabundance of blood, gore, terrifying imagery just for the sake of shock value. Of course, it being an R-rated horror film, you do have some gore, but I felt that here it was used effectively and it was used only when necessary. It wasn't used throughout the film to constantly for constant like shock value and cheap thrills. Because what we have here, and this was another surprise as well, is very much a slow burn horror movie in a build-up film. Honestly, not a lot as far as like terrifying scenes and like I guess action revolving around something scary. Not a lot happens in terms of that in this movie. This is very much a slow burn movie, very much a build up, very much kind of like watching something wrong slowly build up in not ordinary, because this movie opens up and something's already happened, but kind of like something messed up, something very screwed up and sinister, slowly kind of like gradually brewing in what appears to be the lives of an ordinary family. Keyword appears, because internally they're dealing with some stuff, but if you didn't know that they had just dealt with something, which the movie opens up with, they would just appear to be kind of just an ordinary family kind of going through something. But you can tell that something's slowly building, something's kind of like creeping, something's definitely casting a shadow over them. And I like that slow burn build up approach. It was quite effective, and it made for quite a refreshing horror film. I really haven't seen a plethora of horror movies like this. I've seen others that definitely take more of the slow burn approach, but let's compare it to the horror films that I've seen lately in theaters. You don't really get too many like this, and I guess that's kind of like the hallmark. A24, I would argue, is definitely more well known for a lot of their horror movies, some more of which, of course, I'll be reviewing this month. And this is definitely one of the things that I've heard about their horror films, is that they're slow burns. They take their time. They're more conceptual and intellectual than mainstream blockbuster horror films. And you really have to kind of think about what you just saw, as the filmmakers don't usually present like the explicit explanations. And Hereditary definitely checks all of those boxes off. An A24 film that I did go and see in theaters recently was Talk to Me, and that kind of like the same thing here, where you not everything is explained. Not everything is as it seems upon a second glance. There are some things where if you blink, you'll miss it, and that's definitely the case here. Phenomenal performances by everybody. Even the child actor Millie Shapiro plays her part, though her character, Charlie, she's the daughter of Tony Collette and Gabriel Byrne, who are both fantastic in this film. Also, I when it all wrapped up, I was like, okay, now it makes sense. Her character makes sense. I get why she was this way. But at first, I was like, you're being a bit too like you're this way, and there's no explanation for it. And I get this whole movie wants you to kind of put the pieces together for yourself. Like I said, there's parts where if you blink once, you'll miss something crucial. But the way that their young daughter behaves, they say she's 13 in the movie, the way their 13-year-old daughter behaves, I felt like warranted at least a small explanation. I don't want to get into, too much, of course, but very like kind of like almost like, are you on the spectrum? And I'm not trying to be insensitive or disrespectful or anything. Do you have something going on upstairs? What's going on with you? I could have used an explanation, but to be fair, at the very end of the movie, there is somewhat of one. When everything's revealed, I was kind of there was one that was kind of like, that's not as satisfying as I would like, but I'll take it. Okay, fine, you can have it. I would have liked it to be a bit more like satisfying and detailed, but okay. Other than that, I was really digging Hereditary. I love the cinematography. It made you as a audience member feel like you were intruding in on this family. There's a lot of parallels with the one of the characters in this movie is like a dollhouse maker, recreates whole scenes in miniature. There's parallels between that and the way this movie shot. That was very neat. The imagery and the horror when it kicked in was actually very effective and rather unsettling. I like how you really don't understand what's playing out here until the very end, and I like the way that this movie wrapped up. I like the kind of the cryptic clues leading up to that, and then when we get the reveal, it was very satisfying. It was very neat. I dug it very much. Not your typical horror movie ending. So yeah, I really enjoyed Hereditary. This is a great kickoff to this A24 based series, and I'm doing this because people have always keep saying, like in all over the internet and in real life, that the A24 is pretty much like the modern savior of modern cinema. They're the only studio that give filmmakers like complete creative control, etc., etc. And if any of that's true, then Hereditary is a great indicator that there is some fact to that those claims can be backed up. So wrapping it up, I'm going to give Hereditary a 9.5 out of 10. The character of Charlie was just kind of is what prevents me from giving it a 10 out of 10, just because I could have used more explanation with that. And also, I guess another gripe is that there are like just small instances of kind of like you're doing a bit too much here. I get what you're trying to do, but you're laying it on a bit too heavy, mostly acting wise. But other than that, I really dug Hereditary. I had a blast watching this. It's a movie that can kind of stay in your head. I liked how it was meant to be more disturbing than like downright, oh, horrifying, we're gonna scare the shit out of you with this really creepy story. It was more disturbing than anything, and I actually didn't mind that at all. I feel like the only people, and I understand this, who would like genuinely say they didn't like this would be because maybe it is too much of a slow burn. Maybe it's not something on the same level as The Conjuring, where it is a bunch of like scares, jump scares, more action based horror. And that's I respect that opinion for sure, because that's what we now associate with at least definitely like modern day horror movies, is we do like action-based horror movies where there is a lot happening, where characters are getting chased or performing exorcisms. There is a lot of blood and gore, but Hereditary really isn't like that. And as somebody who enjoys, mainstream, I enjoy mainstream horror just as much as I enjoyed this film. I totally get that, but this was a nice change of pace for me. I haven't seen a horror film like this in a while, and I really enjoyed the nice change of pace. I liked how it didn't rely on, those typical tropes very much. I mean, it is gory. There is some imagery in here. There are some scenes, but it wasn't all about that. At the end of the day, it was a movie that wanted to disturb you up here, horrify you up here, make you like process all that you've just seen in the story that just unfolded. And I really dug that approach. So again, 9.5 out of 10 for Hereditary. This has been another edition of Wade Watches, my first A24 in April series review. And if this is an indicator of things to come, I'm very much looking forward to this series. This might be my favorite series that I've ever done on this channel. So be on the lookout for more. Peace.